we always like to say that for the PigWorks events, whether it's Queen Bee or Flying Pig or any of the events, we like to say that for every participant, there is a story. And someone who finishes a 5K or a 10K can have as much of a feeling of an accomplishment as someone who finishes a half marathon or a full marathon. Well, if you follow the PigWorks social channels, you might have seen around the holidays, posted a picture on the Queen Bee social channels of these 4 women crossing the finish line. And typical smiling, and they're happy and they're so good. But then after that, we got an email saying that there was so much more behind that story. And that's really what we wanted to find out. And so we have Colleen Shea Perry, Stephanie Little, whose story it is, Anna Squibb, and Jenny Crawford, who are with us. And Stephanie, I know this is your story, but let me first start with Colleen, who really triggered this story, because if you follow the Flying Pig, Queen Bee social media at all, you know that we put up random photos of our events. And usually they're at the finish line and people are happy and they're excited and they're smiling. And we put up one from the Queen Bee. And Colleen emailed us and said, here's the story behind that story. So Colleen, first let's start with you. And what made you think that they need to hear the story behind that photo?
Oh, I don't know. That was such a special, I don't know, experience for all of us. It was emotional. It had been a while in coming, and it was a celebration. I mean, we were all excited to do that race together, and certainly to support and celebrate Stephanie's journey. And of course, just getting across that finish line. I mean, there was a lot of emotion there, a lot of hugs, a lot of tears, good tears. So when I saw that picture, it just triggered that memory. It's a good memory.
So let's go back to, as I said, Stephanie, this is your story. So tell us about your story and your journey and your connection with the Queen Bee.
Well, the Queen Bee was my very first half marathon. So I've done every single one of them. The Queen Bee's first was my first. And it was so empowering and so much fun that I've made absolute sure that I've done every single one. Not last year, but the year before, we had to do virtual, and that was the year that I had been struggling with a lot of GI issues. These ladies and I have met more through triathlon. We're all triathletes. Then Anna and I actually met on our very first full marathon out on the course together. But we were all in midst of different endurance events, and I was struggling to be able to finish my training sessions because I wasn't able to eat much. We had done a couple of tests and this and that, and we knew that I had a narrowing between my stomach and my intestines, but we thought it was just kind of an anomaly. But it got to the point where I decided to seek out a surgical opinion. And really the only way to fix it was going to be to do pretty much a gastric bypass surgery. So what many people would have done to lose weight, I was going to have in order to be able to eat, period. So in November so it was really October, the virtual Queen Bee, I can remember the last mile, my entire leg cramped up, and that just doesn't happen to me, especially at the pace that I was going. And I remember finishing and thinking, something is wrong. Something is really wrong with me. Finished it though, got my medal, wasn't going to cheat. Can't do that. And about 2 weeks later, I was in the OR. And when I woke up, the first words that I heard were, "You have cancer." So that was not expected, of course. And what they had found was that it was actually a tumor on the outside of my stomach intestines that was pretty much compressing in and not allowing food to get out of my stomach. So they did take about a third of my stomach out and 3 inches of intestines. And they had found a nodule right up my belly button. We thought it had been a hernia and it wasn't. And that nodule, when they biopsied it, came back positive as well. And they took out 26 lymph nodes, and one of those came back positive as well. So when I went to my follow-up appointment with my surgeon, he told me that, I was already up to, running back to a 5K, at that point, and got hit with the news that I had stage 4 stomach cancer, because everything had come back positive. So, at 45 years old at that point, that was a big hit. So we literally went from the surgeon's office down to the oncologist's office, where they told me I was going to have to get a port and probably be on chemotherapy the rest of my life. Need to make some decisions about, I'm a registered nurse, critical care nurse. So I needed to make some decisions about my career and my family and all that. So huge emotional roller coaster, as anybody can imagine. Don't expect to have to start having those conversations. My oldest was getting ready to get deployed to Kuwait. He's in the Air Force. My middle child was pregnant with her first baby, and my youngest was a senior in high school at the time. So not great timing in my personal life. Got a couple second opinions, and things started to look up a little bit in that we were hopeful that the nodule was kind of incidental, but they didn't feel that it had appeared. It wasn't like a tumor that had appeared because of cancer cells traveling from my stomach to that nodule. I think that the tumor was literally rubbing up against my umbilicus and created that nodule. But because I had the lymph node that was positive, I did get a port over the next couple of weeks and started chemotherapy. So in the meantime, these guys, as well as the rest of my triathlon team, my friends and family, rallied around me. This was Christmas time. It was the holidays. They all showed up at my house and sang Christmas carols outside because it was COVID. So they all stood 6 feet away. So I wouldn't get sick. Sang Christmas carols and have been my support system from that point on. Did about 12 rounds of IV chemotherapy, which was, I don't wish that on anybody by any means. And did another about 3 months of oral chemotherapy. And my scans so far have showed no metastasis. So I was originally given 6 months to 2 years, and I'm past my 1-year mark without any signs really of anything else showing up. But, the queen bees came up, and, after chemotherapy and the gastric bypass surgery, I couldn't eat, very well. I lost about 20-25 pounds. I was pretty darn skinny. But endurance, having that in my background, even mentally having the ability to put one foot in front of the other, knowing that it was going to be a long road, mentally being able to endure chemotherapy, I think it helped tremendously. And also having a goal to work towards at the end of it. So, it started when I started back, it was very emotional again. I had worked very hard. I was doing half irons, half marathons, big bike rides. And I couldn't do one girl push-up. I couldn't, I started off with my jogging. I would jog for 10 seconds and then stop and have to stop for a minute and jog for 10 seconds because that was literally all I could do. But the next time I went out, I did 15 seconds. And then the next time I went out, I did 20 seconds and started to work myself up very, very slowly to the point where I felt like maybe I could tackle the queen. I wasn't going to miss my next queen bee. So every year I do try to encourage / harass friends to join me. The queen. And I think we're all guilty of having done that at some point in our careers to each other. it'll be fun. Sounds like a great time, kind of thing. So, this was Colleen's second time that she'd done it with me. And these other ladies jumped on board. But we decided, it's nice for us. I would say that the Queen is at kind of towards the end of our season. A lot of us already had our big A races kind of going on. So we decided that this was going to be a celebration race for many different reasons. Each of us personally had some things that we had overcome over the last couple of years. We're all in healthcare. So of course, COVID had been a big thing for all four of us. And, I had done a couple 9-10 mile jogs, but hadn't been able to do much past that. But we were like, you know what, let's just, we're just going to walk most of it, kind of things. It's going to be more, walking around, and let's really, I told them all about all the different things along the course, all the food along the course. So we decided we were going to do this just for fun. So we showed up, and true to form, even though we said we were going to walk at least every mile, I think it was probably mile 6 or 7 before we actually finally somebody said, for the love of God, can we walk a little bit? And then unfortunately, I had both my IT bands went out on me. So it really was the last half of it, a walking journey, which actually was great because it kind of forced us to even have more fun. We really took advantage of all the puppies, all of the food, all of the alcohol that was along the way, all of the people. Colleen had us quoting movie quotes and song quotes, and we just really embraced the moment. And then, of course, there's always the finish line. The finish line, I had done one race before this. It was a big bike race, and I had DNF'd that race the year before, and that was right before my surgery. And so it was interesting to me because I got so much more emotional with this one, crossing the finish line. We just all we didn't plan it or anything, linking arms and coming across. And I just, really kind of lost it. I'm surprised that you can't see my splotchy face in that picture.
Well, we can certainly see the joy and the celebration in everyone's face when you cross. Anna, tell me a little bit about your friend Stephanie and what it took for her to get through that.
Yeah, I think that I moved to the Dayton area in 17, and I kind of met Stephanie inadvertently. We were both finishing up our very first marathon in Xenia, and
mile 21. We met on mile 21.
Yeah. We ran the last 5
zone
together. We were like the exact same pace. It was perfect. And I just moved to the area and didn't really have a training crew, didn't really have, a group of women that to support, just the transition and moving into the area. So meeting Steph, I got into this group, and it truly was the best thing ever. So Steph, and now I'm gonna cry. Steph, I'm like watching you like fight through emotions.
Do it.
My daughter that was here. So in 19, she was diagnosed with cancer, and Steph and she were pen pals during that. And it was, shoot.
Grib, I'm gonna kick your butt.
Yeah. It was just so lovely. And so when she finished, she decided to do this race, and these women came out and celebrated for her for this race. And so when Steph said she was doing this one and asked us to join, there was no question in my mind that I would be there and walk a lot of miles. But the rainbow tutus were initially kind of an homage to Amelia's journey. She loved rainbows through her cancer journey, and then to be able to wear those and do that with Steph. I mean, just like she said, we heard the initial runs where you were running like I can't even imagine 10 seconds or a half mile to go from that to strongly finishing this half marathon. I mean, I think it wasn't even just a struggle. It was like strongly finishing, and we had an absolute blast. And that was the point of it, was to be together and just enjoy the day. And I am so grateful for that experience and for this crew. So goodness gracious, I hate you all.
Oh, that's great. That's so good to hear. Jenny, how about you and your story?
I don't know that I have much of a story. I'm just blessed to call them my friends and be inspired by them. I met Stephanie through Colleen, and we would go and cheer for Colleen at her Ironman race. We would wear like sequin cowboy hats, and we would be all over the course. And Stephanie would cheer, and people would just smile at her. And I would cheer for them, and they would growl at me.
It's so true.
And we laughed. And I think that, I just think that is Stephanie. You just gravitate to her. You're inspired by her, and you love her.
Can certainly tell that. Stephanie, I don't know if you all get to sit down over a glass of wine and talk about this experience at all, but you know, you kind of touched on what your posse means to you, what this group meant to you then and means to you now. And that's something that not everybody gets to enjoy. Not everybody has that. And you have to be so grateful to be able to have that group that you know is going to be there.
Absolutely. I mean, Colleen's kind of dubbed us the sister squad. She got us all cups for Christmas, you know, that have sister squad on it. And, you know, that's something nice. You know, the Queen Bee is a very, you know, female empowering type of race. All four of us are powerful, strong women in both our careers and our personal life. All three of these ladies are full Ironmen. So surrounding yourself with strong women, that is something that every woman really should do. But these are also women that I can say whatever I want in front of. I can have any emotion that I want. I can say any cuss word that I need to at the moment. To have friends that you can be that real with, even though we don't talk every single day, we can get together and immediately be as real as we need to. And I absolutely know that if one of us starts to fall, the others are right there to pick us up. I think four of us have experienced that. And that's an absolute blessing to have in your life for sure.
And if you fall, just remember, Jenny's going to laugh at you first. And then
yeah, there is that.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, Steph. I think there's something special about just the Queen Bee, in that it really does embrace the female side of endurance sports, because there are certainly races you go out to and there are very few women, and it's like I said, you know, if you don't have that community, it can be really intimidating to not have people to train with and to not have people to understand the struggles of day in and day out training, or why you do it. And let's be honest, I don't want to train with just boys. They're fast and dumb. So like having this, I hope that's transcribed. Having this crew is just fantastic. They keep you motivated in much more than just sports. And I see that that's kind of what Queen Bee's about, is just celebrating that with women.
And whatever your pace is, I mean,
100%.
Our
Yes.
group has always been so good about, does not matter what your pace is. We are here to support you, you know, come rain, come shine, whether it's a 16 or an 8-minute, you know, mile pace, which is wonderful.
Mhm. Well, ladies, we celebrate you. Everything that you have done, not just for Stephanie, but for all female runners, to have that kind of a posse. It's rare. It's
Yeah.
rare. And, I'm a little jealous, but I am certainly thrilled that you all shared your story, and hopefully that will encourage other women to be strong and brave and get their own posses, so you can use any kind of swear word that you want. And
Right.
so I know it's, it's not happy hour for everybody, but I certainly raise a glass to all of you. And
We've always got little bottles of Fireball in the fridge.
oh, there
Yes.
you go. Go right straight
in
for
our
it,
race
won't you? Ladies, thank you so much. Anna, Colleen, Jenny, Stephanie, so good to see that you are doing well, and
Thank you.
continued good health. And healthcare workers, are you kidding me? I mean, all the props. I cannot give you enough credit and enough props for everything that you have done over the last couple of years. So thank you all. We better see you this year at the Queen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Look for the
Yeah.
tutus.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.